First, I'd like to thank and congratulate my friend Anya Santos-Uy for making this major contribution in the campaign for awareness for Philippine biodiversity through this book, Alpabeto ng Kalikasan. I would also like to extend the congratulations to the contributors, the Baybayin translators, who is Justin, Ancheta, and Elaine Austria, and illustrator Javier. It's such a beautiful book that both adults and kids would love. Moxie and I love it. So, as you can see. So, I'd like to celebrate this with a song called Laya. I hope you like it. Maraming salamat.
Thank you so much for that inspiring song. That was singer-songwriter Aia de Leon with her original song Laya. To open up our virtual book launch of Alpabeto ng Kalikasan. Alpabeto ng Kalikasan is a unique alphabet book that showcases native Philippine species from A to Z. And we are here with the team behind this incredible book, starting with the writer, Anya Santos-Uy. Anya is a voice actor, an entrepreneur, and an environmental advocate. Hi, Anya.
Hi, good morning, Celine.
Good morning. So, how did you come about with this book? How did it started?
Well, it was a long time coming, I have to say. I think it started out when I was working with Haribon Foundation. This is way back 2004. How old were you then, Celine? No. But in 2004, I started working for Haribon Foundation, and that really kicked things off for me. Like, I was just so amazed by the richness of Philippine biodiversity.
Right.
And at that time, I was almost 30 years old, and I didn't know any of this. And I wondered, why doesn't anybody know any of this, diba? Like, even like the Philippine eagle. So we all know because of school that the national bird is the Philippine eagle, but nobody knows that it's like the largest eagle in the world, or things like that, or that we have a flower called the rafflesia. And I mean, of course, it's in the rest of the world, other parts of the world, but we have also our own species. Why don't we know that? So I always had this feeling na parang I wanted to spread the word about it, but I just never had a chance to think about how to do it aside from my work in Haribon.
Okay, then how did it come to a form of a book? Why a book? Why an alphabet book?
Okay. So started then at just the seed of an idea of wanting to let more people know about Philippine biodiversity. And then fast forward, 2012, I became a mother. And you know what? When you have a baby, it's amazing because at less than a year old, a few months old, they can already point to different animals. For sure, they know what a lion, a tiger, an elephant. I mean, for sure, they know all of these things just by pointing. Oh, anak, where is the elephant? There. Where is the giraffe? There. And you know why? Because it's everywhere. It's on their bibs. It's on their diaper bag. It's even on the diaper. And so that parang left me a little frustrated. No hate for safari animals, for jungle animals, or, no hate for them. But parang, why not Filipino species? Why not Philippine species, diba? So, first time mom, medyo ngarag ka pa nun. So, fast forward, I became a mother again 3 years ago. So once again, I saw in my daughter, now, wow, she can identify all of these animals, right? And then at first, it bothered me that she has this onesie that had all of these random animals. There was a giraffe, there was an elephant, there was a kangaroo, a koala, but also a butterfly and a snail. So I'm like, how random is this? But it was such a cute onesie. So initially, I wanted to make like a line of baby clothes or something like that. Kasi parang feeling ko, yeah, it starts from when they're that small. Diba? The awareness
recognition,
about,
yeah.
Exactly. So I said, then we should start as early as that. And then, so thinking more about it, parang how limiting it would be because of the richness of Philippine biodiversity. It would be so limiting to just pick a few species.
Yes.
Right? So I said, hey, what about an alphabet book? At least you can tackle 28 species in one material. So that's how it started.
All right. So basically the market of this alphabet book are kids, right?
Well, you know what? When I was doing some research and stuff, hindi lang siya pang bata eh. It's even for older. It's for people like us, people my age and even older na parang, ano ba yan? Parang, may ganyan tayo? Or, talaga, yung Philippine eagle, ganyan siya kalaki? Or, or even knowing the local names of the Philippine species. Parang dolphin. Alam lang natin, dolphin. If you ask someone, what's dolphin in Filipino? Dolphin?
No, I agree. I think in this format, the information will be accessible to everyone. And I think it's really important to start at a really young age to know about these things, to know about how rich Philippine biodiversity is. Don't you agree?
Exactly, exactly. So that's where this all came from. And it was actually a challenge to come up with all the 28 species. Because I don't know, well, you would know maybe that the Filipino alphabet is no longer abacada,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's the 26 letters of the Latin alphabet plus Anya and
And NG.
NG. Yeah, so
Yes.
medyo challenge siya kasi may mga letters naman dyan na it's not na kulang yung species natin, right? It's but it's mostly because like the what because of our language, what the species is called might start with the letter D or T or M. Yung maraming ganon.
Yeah.
So like letter X was a challenge. Letter Z, like that sort of thing.
Because those letters, hindi natin siya masyadong ginagamit sa language natin, no?
Correct, but at the same time, you also appreciate na kasi when I was growing up, walang letter V, for example, ang Filipino language. But when I did my research, my letter V is a legit Filipino word,
That's
just
cool.
Ivatan. But it's Ivatan.
Oh.
So it made me learn also different learn more about a language, Filipino languages in general.
That's true. I think aside from learning, as you said, learning the Philippine species, native species, readers can also discover different languages from the Philippines, which is so
Yes.
great.
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
curious because the alphabet book has such great illustrations. I'm wondering if who did this and who are the other teams behind this book? Who are the other
Okay.
people?
Okay, so for those who have not bought the book yet, but you've seen even the cover page, it's fantastic, and the whole book is really parang nadadala siya nung art. I mean, that's what it is. It's art,
It's a
right?
visual
And
experience.
it's quite a visual treat. And what's this? My friend Jay Javier is the wonderful artist of this book. Siya yung kinulit-kulit ko. We were office mates at GMA, and he would post his works on Facebook, and I'm like, hey, this is great. I got to work with this guy. So it's Jay.
Hi.
Oh, hi Jay. So I
Hello.
think you're a graphic designer and illustrator.
Yes, I am.
How did Anya convince you to do the book?
Convinced.
Actually, it was from out of the blue, right? You just
Kind of.
sent me a message. Hey, do you do children's illustrations? So she told me na about her idea with the animals, and I I agreed. It was funny. Anya and I are contemporaries. So we share that same experience that growing up, alphabet books were A is for ant, B is for
Apple.
beaver. Well, you don't have beavers here. So it made sense that why don't we try making a book with Filipino animals? And it would be a very good starting point for a new generation of um, kids learning about biodiversity, especially Filipino biodiversity.
Agree. Sorry, technical difficulties.
Okay.
So
Um,
that's what happened, and we ended up communicating regularly on well, one of the biggest challenges, as Anya mentioned before, was filling out the animals for each letter.
mm,
And the funny thing was, it was also the first time that I realized that, uh, like for example, the Filipino owl, it's very different from the American owl, from the
that's true.
European owl, from the Chinese owl. So Anya was helping me do research for that. And actually, the research took a lot of time rather
Yes.
than just going to my sketch pad and drawing the animal. as we think about it, we had to do research on which species were the
Yes.
Philippine versions of the animals. So that was that.
So Jay, you
Yeah, so it
wanted to
was
make, yeah, yes, Anya, go ahead.
no. I was just gonna say, like for the owl, for example, it's not just owl in general, diba? Like quago, because the word that we used for owl is ngiu ngiu
Yeah.
to represent NG, and that is a specific owl. It's the eastern grass owl. It's not just an owl, it's the eastern grass owl. So it just also shows how rich the Filipino language is, diba?
That's
So
true.
very specific.
And if I remember right, we did a couple of revisions for that just to get that new look,
Yes.
which was
Mm.
Yes.
specific to the local version.
Yes, yes.
So not only does the illustrations specific to the Philippines, it's also biologically accurate or as
Oh yeah.
close to the
Uh,
actual species.
every time I do a sketch or a study of the animal, Anya would take it to consultants and
Mm.
verify the details. Some
Awesome.
of the things with the animals were involved some artistic license, like the colors, some of the
Yes.
shapes, but the pertinent details of each animal we made sure was recognizable.
Okay, so you mentioned artistic license. Can you share to us sino yung mga influences mo when it comes to the illustrations?
Um, well, my wife and I are big children's book fans, and one of our
Mm.
favorites was Eric Carle. Um, when I was designing this book, I wanted to do something which was very stylized, but at the same time easily identifiable, especially for kids.
Yeah. And also accurate.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, I noticed there are scripts, which is baybayin. Used to be called Alibata, but now it's baybayin. So I'm wondering who did this part.
Sure.
Anya?
Okay, so I'll just introduce Dustin Ancheta, who is with CQPH, and they're our partners for this book in doing the baybayin. They used to hold workshops here at our co-working space, and because I just talk a lot and I'm friendly and all that, I mean, Jay and I were actually in the middle of this already, right?
Yeah.
Remember? We were like, we had most of the illustrations already. And then I attended the workshop, the Baybayin workshop of Dustin here at O2. And I'm like, ding, let's do this. And then when I pitched the idea, they kind of grabbed onto it. So I'm going to let Dustin talk more about that.
Hi, Dustin.
Hey, Celine. Well, thanks for having us. Thanks for having us here. Yeah, it's just so about 2018. We, as part of our initiative to really get my buy-in out there, we wanted to create these little series of workshops about by buy-in. By we, I mean CQH Cultural Intelligence Philippines, and specifically my mentor, my academic mentor and good friend, Alain Austria. So the brush strokes you're actually seeing on the book are his. We
Mm.
we taught it for a while, and as Anya has said, we met actually very briefly. We've worked a lot before, and then we hold these workshops in O2 in their co-working space, and then we just got to talking about it, and it really just made sense. Filipino things, Filipino culture. It just meshed, and we started working from there. We helped with a bit of the research, but really mostly it was to make sure that the Baybayin was as accurate as possible. Largely because Baybayin has grown so much. It has become a really drive for Filipinos to try to find a sense of identity. And it's become
Yeah.
an encompassing term. Baybayin has many scripts. The book has the Tagalog script, but there are others. And Alain predominantly who is camera shy and did not want to be here. He's here with us. He's supporting us and probably watching this. And the idea was that it has to be as accurate and as beautiful as possible. And if Lane is an artist himself who does by script, and if you see his work, what we essentially did was that he did all of the syllabary of Baybayin, and then we did high resolution scans of it. And then Jay, amazing layout, put it in with his illustrations, and you have the book.
It is beautiful, and I love the quick guide to baybayin at the end of the book because it's important. I think this will be really accessible to people, and more people will know how to write baybayin or to read baybayin. So, Dustin, why do you think it's important for Filipinos to learn this script?
First, I want to add that people should visit our website at alpabeto.kalikasan.com. Probably past August, after this launch, we will be expanding on what's on the book. So the book is a teaser on how to learn by buying. You can learn more by visiting the book website as well. And then straight to answer your question, it's a sense of identity for Filipinos, particularly both those that are here in the country and Filipinos trying to find out their own cultural identity outside of the country. It's really one of the things that are uniquely ours, untarnished by colonization, colonialism. It's something you can really go back to and say, that's ours and it's us. So learning by buying, whether it's the Tagalog version, the Kapangpangan Kulitan, or the other ones that have survived, it's so important to us as a way of defining our people.
Totally, I agree. So for everyone, for Anya, for Jay, for Dustin, what do you think, or what do you hope for? What do you hope for this book to do? Where do you see this book going?
Okay, who goes first?
Anya.
Anya?
Okay. Really, my hope for the book is just really to raise awareness about how rich Philippine biodiversity is and our culture as well. Because when you start at a very young age with something as simple as an alphabet book, a child will grow with some affinity to those species. And when you have an affinity to the species, you will feel more protective of it. Right?
agree.
So, diba? So parang it just makes sense. Introduce it at an early age so that they grow to love them and so they will want to protect them. So my hope for this is that people live a more conscious life, a more sustainable way of living, keeping in mind that everything is connected and that we have to do our part to be able to protect biodiversity.
Yes. Agree. Jay?
What Anya said.
Ditto.
No, exactly that. Plus the fact that it could help our children have these words sa regular vocabulary nila. Like, salaksak. Malalaman mo. Madali ipasok sa usapan. Uy, nakakita akong salaksak. That's the awesome for me.
Dustin?
Since they already covered the nature part, I mean, ditto also for the nature part, of course. It also applies to culture. There's no avoiding growing up in a globalized culture, and it's a competitive advantage that we do grow up in that. But it's also important not to forget your own culture. And early exposure to baybayin, early exposure to what is truly yours, also creates this affinity towards that. Unlike us and our generation or older generations, where they have to search for it, look for it, early children's books that have things that are truly Filipino only makes them want to protect it more. Really only wants them to, it's not a stranger to them, it's not a strange concept to them, if you will. They grow up with it, they might even know how to write with it in concert with English and Tagalog at the same time. So it's just that.
Absolutely, 100%. I always say that stories are very powerful, and this book is a way of telling stories, and when we know about something, we grew to love it. We grow to love it. Then when we love something, we protect it, right? And speaking of love, my favorite entry in this book is, of course, the Tamaraw. The Tamaraw is my spirit animal. So the Tamaraw is, as of course, as you all know, is a species of dwarf buffalo here in the Philippines. And that's actually how I met Anya. Through the Tamaraw, we had a project, a docu-film featuring the Tamaraw. Suwago Suko, and Anya did the voicing part, the narration. So so that's me. That's my favorite, the Tamaraw. Mainly because I'm biased. But how about you guys? What's your favorite entry in the book?
Go, Dustin.
Oh, me first. I love the Alatap or Firefly.
Oh,
It's my favorite, mostly because Jay's art is amazing on it. When we were doing the studies and when I saw it for the first time, I kind of just latched onto it. That's amazing for me. Also, because my first experience with an actual Alitap or Firefly was when I was fairly young, 17, 18 years old. And I got sent by the Department of Tourism to Puerto Princesa, where they have this Firefly Reserve.
mm.
And it was my first ever seeing them in like such a large number, covering an entire expanse.
Wow.
Wow.
And then they bring you to, and then apparently I forgot the life cycle, but it involves something about bioluminescent plankton as well. So on this Firefly River cruise, this Alitaptap River cruise, they bring you to the river, and then if you run your hand through the river, the whole area where your hand came from just lights up
Whoa.
right in the
Oh,
water.
Oh.
It
is that an
activates the plant-
Iwahig?
I think so. Yeah, it's in the penal
Yeah.
colony. Yeah.
Wow.
So it blew my mind, and it has always left an impression on me. So when I saw the Alitapta, I was like, oh, this is amazing. I love this. So that's my favorite entry of the whole book.
Yay. How about, who wants to go next?
JJ,
Jay?
Could I go? This one's
Go.
my favorite. Yung unggoy.
was it your favorite to draw, JJ?
Yeah, look at the eyes.
Let me look at the eyes.
Open it.
What? Why? What about the eyes?
Oh, yeah.
It's like it's talking to me.
It's like saying,
It's like it's judging us. No,
draw me nice, please. No, really.
Aw.
When I was drawing this, Anya was sending me reference pictures of the monkeys na endemic na sa atin. And the reference picture for this illustration kind of drew me in. Although I had to remove one part, the actual photo where I used as the actual one I used as reference. She was carrying a little monkey, baby monkey, but the baby's face was covered. So I think it was like when the photographer took that picture, the monkey was saying, "Hey, look at my baby, not me." And I just found it so
Oh, I
cute
love it.
and warm and nice and human. So
Mm.
yeah,
Actually.
Anya?
reference picture
Okay,
looking in front.
Okay, my favorite. Thanks, JJ. My favorite is the Haring Ibon, the Philippine eagle.
Revisions yan.
Yes, marami siyang revisions because I'm like, no. It has to look as majestic as it really looks
Because
in
it
person. Diba? I
is.
kept on saying that. And then I said, he has to be in front. You know? No, seriously. Kasi parang, okay, so when you work with Haribon Foundation, no? Haribon nga is short for Haring Ibon, King of Birds. It's so I don't know which came first, but I saw it in Davao in the Philippine Eagle Foundation when I was working with Haribon, we got the chance to go around the Philippines to talk about illegal wildlife trade and to talk about, I forget the other things. But parang, wow, highlight yon to see the Philippine eagle in person. I mean, in captivity pa yon. So parang, I think, if I see it in the wild, parang, oh, pwede na ako mamatay. Parang, no, but it's actually really scary. It's as big as a toddler. It's like 1 meter high, and then the wingspan is 2 meters. I mean, it's really so majestic. It's so
So
beautiful.
fierce?
Fierce siya. Fierce siya. And then, parang, tapos ang taray niya, grabe. Yun yung word, parang taray. Parang ang haba ng hair niya. Gumana. As in. And then, you know what? Sad to say. I mean, parang I even appreciated more. Like on we had a work trip, and we met some people from the Royal Society for, RSPB, Royal Society for the Protection of Birds. These are British birders, okay? Because a lot of British are really crazy about birds. And when they find out you're from the Philippines, wow, have you seen the Philippine eagle? Really?
Yeah.
And then, binili ko yung shirt kasi parang may shirt siya na parang Eagles of the World. And then, so there's the harpy eagle, which is potentially one of the largest also, but it's heavier. Oh, the harpy eagle is large in terms of weight, etc. But the Philippine eagle is yung Philippine eagle lang yung sa shirt ko. Siya lang yung nakalagay, the Great Philippine Eagle. Oh, seriously. And parang, wow, it takes people from abroad to make you appreciate your own species, So, and like, so that parang just, it's my favorite. There you go.
Well, I haven't seen the Philippine eagle in person, but I've seen photos of it. And I'm like, I think this is what the Filipinos are hoping to be. Because
Yes.
I mean, it's majestic, it's fierce, it's dignified. So I think it's appropriate that it's our national bird.
Absolutely.
You need to drop by Davao. It's amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah, it actually, speaking of Haribon Foundation, I've been mentioning them the whole time. I just wanted to mention that part of the proceeds of the book will be donated to Haribon Foundation.
Yay!
Yeah, so when you purchase the book, part of the proceeds go to their work in protecting and conserving the habitats.
So, well, thanks, guys. For those who are watching, if you have a favorite Philippine native species, comment down below and purchase the book so you can find out if your favorite species has made it into the Alpabeto ng Kalikasan. Can we...
And if it's not there, you can suggest what species might be there in the second edition, third edition, fourth.
Second edition.
Yeah, we're also trying to crowdsource. I'll just say this in advance, no. On the website, for those who will buy it, you will have a QR code which leads you to the website, and you can there's a glossary of terms there, so that you can see the scientific name and other colloquial Filipino names.
Cool.
Right? So, alitap-tap apparently is the other names in other languages in the Philippines and other provinces. So, if we missed out on one, please let us know. So, we are crowdsourcing on that, the other local names of the species that we have used for the book.
Yay, it's a nationwide effort.
Yes, and we need all the help we can get.
Yay, so again, this is Alpabeto ng Kalikasan. Can we show everyone?
Here we are. So buy yours now.
So Anya, where can we get this book?
Well, as you can see in the ticker tape down there, scrolling, you can go to our website, www.alpabetonangkalikasan.com. We also have some partner resellers that sell worldwide.
Cool.
So just message us to find out more. And we hope that you can buy the book. Get to learn more about Philippine biodiversity and our culture. Yay!
Buy the book.
Buy the book. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Anya. Thank you, Dustin.
you.
Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, Celine.
And thanks, everyone, for joining us. If you want to buy the book, as mentioned, you can see it in the description, and it's flashing down below. Again, part of the proceeds of the book will go to Haribon Foundation. Please buy this. It will make information accessible to everyone, and you will discover the rich culture and biodiversity of the Philippines. Thank you, and have a great day.
We have actually time traveled to the past, a few hours into the forest, to think about the wildest animals in the Philippines. And ano ba yung kaya nating maisip? We might think of the tamarao, or the Philippine eagle, or the Philippine crocodile, or the whale shark. There are so many plants and animals that make our country one of the most biodiverse on Earth. In fact, we are one of the 17 mega-diverse countries because so many of our plants and animals can only be found in this country. But many of them are facing a very, very real risk of extinction. Alam nyo ba that a long time ago, this country had elephants. This country had rhinos. We even had tigers prowling in the jungles of Palawan. But because of people, these animals have become extinct dito sa Pilipinas. And extinction, it's a very, very real thing because according to a study called the WWF Living Planet Report, 60% of the populations of animals, specifically vertebrates, have declined from the year 1970 up to the year 2000, which means anywhere you go, there are less birds and reptiles and frogs and mammals than at any point in the 1970s. There are two major causes for the extinction of plants and animals. You can have extinction because of the loss of large tracts of land. Let's say a rainforest like the one you have here, which is, oh look, if you look at this beautiful tree, you'll even see that it's not only full of moss, it has snails, forest snails, growing all around it. So, kita nyo, nagsa-social distancing naman sila, and naka-mask naman yung ibang snails dyan, so they're also very safe from COVID. But, if you cut down this tree, then the snails won't have any other place to live. And the animals that eat the snails won't have anything to eat. And so goes the biggest threat to biodiversity, which would be habitat loss. But the second is far more insidious, and that is that people love to hunt tamarao or Philippine eagles, sometimes not even because they can eat them, but because they want to have a tamarao skull on the wall or a Philippine eagle feather by their bed. So the illegal wildlife trade, or the combined poaching and capturing of plants and animals, is the second major contributor to animal and plant extinctions worldwide. And that's brought me to thinking, if the world has been changing so much since the 1970s, ano kaya yung mukha ng mundo natin pag malaki na ang ating mga anak? So being a parent myself, like Anya, I want only the best for my son, Jay. All I want is for him to be able to go to the forest with his dad and see the beauty that you can see here, like these snails, or moss, or these cool insects over here. But what kind of world will we have for our kids if we don't don't learn how to stop the spiral of extinction. And that's where this book comes in. Alpabeto ng Kalikasan is not only beautifully written and illustrated. You'll see such cool things as gagamba, which I'm afraid of. I love all animals, but pag nakakita kong gagamba, I can scream very loudly and run faster than anyone. Or musang, or civets. Dati marami yan sa mga poultry, sa mga probinsya, and then they'd raid the poultry farms. And that's why the poultry farmers would set traps for musang or shoot them outright. This book is the way for us parents, us adults, to be able to inculcate the sheer interest not only in plants and animals, but for all things you can see in nature to a new generation of people. They are our kids. They are everyone younger than us. At sila yung magmamana at one day mag-aalaga sa mundo. So whether you're a parent, whether you're just someone who's interested in nature, or if you're one of these scales na talagang they're listening right now to us, then you should check out Anya Santos-Uy's Alpabeto ng Kalikasan, which is a great way for all of us to be able to train and inculcate the love for nature para sa makabagong henerasyon ng mga environmentalists. So, once again, we thank and congratulate Anya for her book, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's launch. I'm Gregg Yan in the middle of the forest, shot several hours ago from this launch. Over and out.